Hello, my lovelies. Hi. I'm just coming in to do your coffee break video. Last week, I tried doing the coffee break video in a little closed cafe, which was in a supermarket, for those of you in the UK, in a Waitrose supermarket. And it's closed off because I was there in the evening when Eliza does a new musical theatre class. So we're just finding a flow with a lot of change in our schedule here. And I was wondering if I could use that time to do your coffee break videos. It didn't work that well on two levels. And one was I'm just more relaxed and comfortable when I'm in a quiet space, and there was lots of busyness around. But the clincher was that when I finished the video, these two ladies came together. I think they were like coming to accompany each other to feel brave to come and speak to me after I finished my video and say, can you please not sit here to do that? And I didn't feel irritated at all. I felt for them because I could tell they were a bit nervous to come and tell me that they didn't want me to sit there, which they were completely entitled to do. And they told me somewhere else that I could sit and were very kind, but it would be even busier because it was like around all the shoppers sat up on a chair. And I thought, no, that just doesn't really work for me. So I'm finding a different space at home in my room with my nice crocheted shawl that my friend made me and my lovely pictures and my candles. Can you see my candles and my salt lamp? And it's especially nice to be cozy today because it's absolutely peeing it down here. It's horrible outside. And in our lovely village, I'm really feeling for my fellow villagers today because it is really flooded and we're at the top of the hill. So we don't have this trouble, but a lot of the houses really do get flooded, a lot of flooding inside the houses, as well as a lot of road closures. So it's quite stressful for people here. So I've got that in my heart for people really, struggling with that today. And also just really thinking of all of you guys who are affected very directly by everything that's going on in America at the moment, really in my heart. I can't even imagine what it's like living there at the moment. And so I just want to send my love to all of you, whether it's those things or anything else going on in your world that feels like things are a bit against you in an extra way at the moment, extra love. So I've got my cards to pull for you. Our day today is feeling like there could be some tension because on a Tuesday, Eliza goes to her, I just dropped all the cards. Eliza goes to her pole training class. And she really looks forward to the connection and the movement from that class. But it's quite a distance for us to drive and there are a lot of road floods on the way. Some of the schools are closed and some of the transport's shut down around here because of it. So I kind of said to her, I think we need to assess a bit later whether it's going to be feasible or not. And yeah, it's peeing down again. So that's going to be very disappointing and dysregulating for her if we can't manage that. So feeling that myself a little bit and bringing that into the space, because I always do a little share with you, don't I, about what's going on with us, but also because I feel like that's quite like the energy of this week. I really like to tune into the universal energies, and I really feel that there's a deep invitation, if you want to pick it up, to notice where you're feeling those tensions today about things that you can't control on a personal level and you can't fix on a personal level, and they feel crummy, and that could be to do with your kids, it could be to do with the country you're living in, it could be to do with the weather, but you can't really do much about it in a direct way, and you're kind of sitting with that tension. And what do we do with that? And what I notice for myself is a lot of the work that I've done on a personal level, being a PDA parent, is learning, sitting in that tension and that unknown and that I can't fix it feeling, whether it's for my daughter or whether it's for friends or relatives or teachers, feeling the tension, grandparents, whatever it is, where things just don't, aren't quite flowing and working, and everyone's not feeling comfortable. And got a lot of conditioning. I don't know if you relate to this, but like being a mum, being a woman, being a wife, me as well, an older child, just being in our culture and in our society of like being the fixer, being the sorter out, and sometimes I am able to follow my inspiration and guidance and do that quite well. That's okay, that's beautiful. But sometimes I've found on my journey as being the parent I am taken into those spaces where you've got to sit with the discomfort right now, Lindsay, that you can't fix this. And what are you going to do with that? And I think a couple of things I found quite useful that I want to bring in for you to see if it's supportive, if it lands for you, if it's useful or not. And if it can, just chuck it out. Chuck it in the fuck it bucket, as they say. So the first one is really holding what I would describe as being the highest vibration, translating that out of woo language. What does that mean? Feeling into the fact that there are loads of possible outcomes and I don't know what's going to happen. And in this moment where I'm feeling this tension and struggle and fear and bleh, I'm tuned into one or a few of those outcomes, which are probably the suckiest. And it's okay to notice those possibilities, but there are also loads more. And the thing is that when we're in that sucky place of our fear and our worry and our anger and all those kind of lower vibration emotions that take us into that place, it's really hard to allow the imaginings of better possibilities to come to us. So I love to use, EFT, meditation, could just be taking a walk or having a dance party or sharing it with a friend, whatever it is, something to shift that feeling, not to pretend that those other possibilities aren't there. We're not, gaslighting ourselves. Yeah, okay, those possibilities exist. But allowing ourselves to open up to the fact that actually maybe amazing things could come through this. Or actually, what's more likely? That all kinds of things are going to come through this. Things that we would label good and things that we would label bad, but they're only our perceptions. And holding that space in us to know that lots of possibilities are available to us and we can shift our feeling and our energetic vibration, and we can shift our mindset. Because when we're in fear, when we're in that anger, when we're in those places, our mind and our body shut down. Our psyche kind of shuts down to a survival place, doesn't it? We know all about that fight, flight, freeze, fawn response from that primal brain when it's activated. But I don't think we're often aware of how easily it's activated for us. It doesn't have to be the big display of dysregulation that we often talk about. It can just be that disruption in the body's energy flow from a negative memory or association or a worry that feels so familiar. We call it normal and everyday. We don't really think of it as being dysregulated. But if it's not peace and well-being and ease and openness, then there's something going on in there that's inviting us to notice and to release it so that we can come out of that, our little inner child, our little inner protector, and it's working out, and go into our more vast thinking of our prefrontal cortex, our working out mind, and the intuition that can flow when our body and our energy opens up. So we just really want to work on how we can shift our state when we notice we're in that place. And I think the second thing I want to say on the back of that, and this has been a hard lesson for me, is that if you tend, right, this is me, if you tend to be the coper and the one who actually does try and think about all those possibilities, you might tend more to actually not acknowledging the feelings and the thoughts that are coming up for you. And you might notice that that starts to show up in physical symptoms, in body tensions or disruption, because it's trying to get your attention and saying, you can't pretend this isn't here. You know, if this is here, this is here. We can work with expanding it. We can work with moving our state, but like planning a journey, you have to know where you're starting from. This is here. And not only is this feeling or this thought that we don't want to be here, but we get to completely love and unconditionally accept ourselves with it being here. Not because we've cleared it, not because it's gone, with it being here. And that is the biggest healing journey of them all. We talk about healing as if it's like, you know, I've got to change this thought, I've got to get rid of this symptom, I've got to clear this pattern. No, I am perfect, whole, complete. Everything about me is just ready to be embraced and to have love flow to it right now, unconditionally. That is the big journey that I really wanted to share with you today, because I think that's where, I know that's where I got really blocked in a lot of my healing work at the beginning stages. And it did lead to physical disruptions for me before I really got that part of it. You know, this is not just a mind-shifting journey. This is an embodied journey where we have to all be on board with loving all of who we are, because we're all like these beautiful, unique snowflakes, aren't we? You know, all perfectly designed to be exactly as we are, and we find so many ways to make ourselves not be okay and to be wrong. And us here in this group go above and beyond to embrace loving and accepting our children and young people for exactly who they are and how they are. But we can only ever take that as far as we are willing to journey with that ourselves. And that's where the real challenge lies, isn't it? It's really easy to give that to someone else when you've got that big open heart. You know, there's so much about my daughter that she would report as being, you know, inadequate in some way, and I just see this perfection in it and enjoy it. It's much harder to reflect that back to yourself, isn't it? But that's the journey I want to really invite you into today, to notice what it is about you that is showing up with a little bit of soreness or a little bit of tension and needing that unconditional love to be flowed to it. Not because you fixed it or sorted it or changed it in any way, because you can bring it back into the whole of who you are and let it be okay. And from that place, yeah, it might completely transform and change. That energy might move and it might release, and you might not have that pattern or that feeling or that thought anymore. But you start with, and it's okay if it stays. You know, I'm still whole, and I'm still wonderful just as I am. And, you know, that's the work I do in so many different guises with the people I work with. I do parent support work, where PDA parents especially come to me and just need that safe listening space. But I know so much of what they receive is through, you know, me as a PDA parent and a radically unschooling parent, being able to hold that space for, you're doing fine, this is okay, you know, because we come in thinking we're so wrong and we're getting it all wrong, and actually having someone who gets it say, okay, it's all right, you're doing a great job, look at the love and the care and the open-minded attitude that you're bringing in. And then I do EFT, you know, where we tap on acupoints and really release the patterns that are in our energy system, our habits and our thoughts and our struggles and our physical symptoms and everything. And that's just really powerful energy work. And I do deconditioning and unschooling sessions with parents who either are going into the home education process and looking at, you know, unwinding what they've learned in the world about how education forms, or I love to work with the parents who want to take it further. They want to look at what unschooling means for them as a family, or radically unschooling means for them as a family, and what they need to let go of to do that themselves, to live that, you know, life approach of everybody's needs being met and everybody's lifelong learning, being respected, and, you know, what do I need to let go of to be in that world in every area of our life, and actually open up, you know, what I want for my life and how I bring my creativity and interest into the world too. And the deconditioning work, you know, comes through my passion with human design and really learning who you are and releasing what you're not, who you're not, and being able to hold that space for your children. But also, again, if you're a PDA parent, or if you are looking at home education or walking that path, you know, really looking at what is coming up for you, that you're feeling, I have always thought this, or I have always done this, but is this really my value? Is this really what I choose? Or is there something here that is showing me as a tension that I'm ready to let go of now? So lots of fun explorations that all come down to the same thing, really. This is you, and you are wonderful, and you have all the resources and all the knowledge and all the energy and all the passion that you need. Let's hold space for that, and hold space for the fact that all of your children just as beautifully designed and have everything they need, and just see if we can clear out all the dross that's in the way of us being in this amazing flow that's intended for us, allowing life to unfold in the beautiful way that it wants to. Okay, take lots and lots of care of yourself, and I got my cozy tracksuit on. I'm going to go and make a nice hot drink and see where the day takes us. Mwah, loads of love. Bye.